Okay, here we are in 1883, still working our way through, and I know we're doing a lot more video than I often do for the 18xx's. This one just sort of demands it, and I've gotten slower, you know, going into more details and stuff, just for whatever reason, more personal shit too, but that's outside of, I mean, that affects the length of the videos, but it's outside of the playtime aspect. I feel like I'm doing a lot on playtime. What have we got happening? The track is beginning to fill out pretty heavily. We had, as a big deal, the merger of the Modena Vignola and Sassuolo Modena railways, which brought out the last of the 5 trains, which in turn caused the first of the 6s to be bought, and has stripped trains from this player. He is probably going bankrupt. These cards can go away. I think. It's hard to tell. He has a fair amount of money. If he was facing purchasing a 6 and a 7 train, I think he would survive barely. The problem is he's got these 2 fucking 4 trains sitting out there that he is going to be forced to buy at least one of, unless somebody offers him up, say, a spare 4 for cheap. Which maybe if things dragged out a little bit at the end, because both this player and this player refused the 5 train for 1 operating round. And that started to cause an advantage here for this guy with his 2 trains on him. And his buses, which have sort of an unlimited growth potential over a long game. So there's a real reason that other players are like, oh boy, we have to get things moving along so that thing doesn't just start cranking out more and more money. Because as soon as these 2 bus lines connect, he gets to add them together. And it's already making a fair amount of money. It's going to start making ridiculous money since it's allowed to spill out into the plains. And yeah, it's just ugly. On top of that, and I hope I'm not doing something wrong there. I'm worried that I might be, that I shouldn't be placing 2 buses at this point in the game. I'm really terrified of that. I will look that up. Ooh, there's my lunch. Or whatever it is. Meals don't really have a value. We have a concession that's close to falling. The priority guy could grab that. Or if there's a share he really wants that he thinks is more valuable than the concession. See, the concession is of less importance now. I could grab that concession and run it. That's going to be the blue one. I think it's worth like $100. That's number 7. Yeah, it costs $10. It's worth, oh, it's actually worth more. It'll be worth $200 at this point. Which is interesting because that's money that could easily go into a train, right? And I could buy one of the big trains with a Swallow perhaps with it, if I get another company or whatever, so that I could have 2 companies that each have 2 permanent trains on it. That's the kind of thing you want to do in an XX game. Early on, those concessions bring such a pile of money in a game where money is very tight, even with the capability to release shares and everything, mainly because the players don't have a lot of money to invest. So the companies got off to a slow start and everything, and if you release these, you're really hurting your stock value, which doesn't really recover very easily, and all kind of ugly stuff like that. Well, the concessions are a way to get a lot of money. But the problem is engineering things so that you can buy the concession in a stock round when you know you can complete it in the operating round, and not having someone else just like destroy the concession by hooking it up too early, and then it doesn't become of any interest. I like the mechanism of the concessions. It may have showed up in another XX before this. It seems like a pretty intuitive and very cool type of thing that fits the history of the railways well. I'm thinking here, if you think about something like Railroad Tycoon or whatever, you get a bonus for hooking up cities, right? Many towns offered bonuses. Sometimes the federal governments offered bonuses for connecting things up that had, that weren't economically viable or worthwhile for the corporations. With a little bit of sweetener, this kind of does that. This asks you not just to hook up a town, but to hook it up to a specific set of paths, which again, it's kind of neat. We've got the other two that are on the board. This one is the easy one. The other two don't look so easy. This one got to blast through a lot of mountains, and other than this company, no one really has any reason to do it. That company may pick up the concession if they're getting, if they can get it kind of close. But other companies might undertake it, but those other companies are going to have to pay a lot of money to do so. We also saw some of the impact of the event cards and just how drastic they can be. And yeah, they can be pretty damn scary. We didn't get hit by anything too frightening, but there's a couple of them that look like they can really, really shake the game up. Like to the extent of ripping up track and locations that you've got hooked up that you're reliant on. Obviously, we've already had runs being canceled by them. And we have trains being seized by the government during the war. I'm hoping that the post-war period is going to be a little less random. But so far they've all been kind of historical flavored. I wouldn't be too shocked. I don't expect it, but I wouldn't be too terribly shocked if we started seeing stuff like that didn't happen but could have, right? Because post-war Italy might have slipped into a much more socialist or communist government, which could cause serious issues here. Anyway, we're up for some interesting stuff. We're looking into the stock round. There's a lot of openings now. The permanent trains aren't settled yet everywhere. Obviously not there, but they're gelling. We've got a view of what is likely to come of this. And people actually have some decent cash. Not everybody. These two players have decent cash. He's fallen behind by a little bit, and he's just losing. For him, a victory is surviving the game as far as I'm concerned at this point. Actually brings something that I see as important. Again, take away the binary, I won the game or I lost the game, i.e. I didn't win type of proposition that some people take. What you can do after certain circumstances, maybe bad luck, maybe whatever, within the constraints that you're facing at a late point in the game, being able to pull out from like, I thought I was going to go bankrupt, to, yeah, I'm going to be in last place, but I'm actually not going to be that terrible. I view that as, look, I'm not going to say, oh, I won the game. But what I'm going to say is, I was impressed that I was able to save my companies or something along those lines. To me, I view that as some sort of moral victory. in terms of stuff. And there are games that are unbalanced. Pax Britannica comes to mind there, where like, if you're playing it just on a binary win-loss, it's going to be problematic. Anyway, I would say the Pax Britannica fits more in with the Europa Universalis feeling, where it's like, yeah, you know, look, the game is just so unbalanced and everything that, like, maybe you should be playing it more as a role-playing experience and kind of look at your situation and just compare it to your knowledge of previous plays and whatnot. Because, for example, Russia in EU is just such a point sink, and it's just so horrible. Whereas, like, you know, there's other countries that are very, very. I think every other combination except for the Portugal-Russia combination has a chance of winning the game. Portugal does great. Russia is a hose. I don't know. I would say Turkey and Spain have a hard time too. And I have never seen the Netherlands. Why am I talking about this? All right, I'm going to go eat my lunch. Oh, it's almost 2 a.m. I was too tired to go for a walk. It was a dreary, gray day. Now, the next couple of days are going to be rainy, which isn't cool either, but we'll see how I feel, whether or not I want to go out. Mainly, I was just so sleepy feeling. But I didn't take a nap. I stayed up, played my raid, then took my nap, and woke up, I don't know, about an hour ago or so, and played a little bit more. But I've got like 3 or 4 hours that I have to wait until an event shows up that I need to deal with. And I kind of want to throw my... Well, I've thrown all my daily energy away already, but I kind of want to throw... I need to throw a bunch of energy into this event. So, you know, I probably won't be going to sleep anytime soon. I don't know, I may take another nap and whatever. Who knows? Anyway, we're here in the stock round, and we want to take care of that. So, I don't know what my... what I'm allowed to hold, that's the problem. And so many damn charts. Most of which, you know, the board doesn't have a whole lot of extra room on it for charts that are really important. So this one, all right, we're at 14 at this point. I have 2, 4, 5, 6. First question is, what do I want most? Do I want a share of something? My company is great. There are a couple of companies that are in pretty good shape. Of course, I have one of these that can be picked up. And there's a concession. That concession is worth a decent amount of cash to the company. I had decided, what, $300, $200, something like that. This is number 7. It's worth $200 lira. Is that better than the stock? I think it is. I'm not sure. And the timer on that one is, for some reason, 4 turns. It's not a hard one to hook up, so it's kind of weird. Because, I mean, it's just this, right? But I think I'll pick that up. I think there are enough different stocks out there as options that I'm not really in a huge hurry about getting them. Puts me to the player who built all the track for this. Now, somebody could actually slice this apart, right? Because I'm allowing these traces to work. But right now, this location, somebody drops a dot in there, and I'm not able to build this, a connector. So my timer would just start decreasing Unless, you know, I could come down this way and build it, you know, together in that direction. So it's not something anybody's gonna really destroy. The guy who's been building all that track might want to buy this other one. This one's outside of his range, no question. Bus can't do anything for him on that. And it's also, I don't know. But number 4 here is a 6-turn one, costs 15, will be worth 250 bucks. But that's doot. Back when I had 2 track lays per F space, well, this is the only F space. Yeah. I mean, could I hook it up? Yeah, but it's not trivial. Like, I could hook into here, then come down, and then I'd have to work my way across. It looks like a lot of work. I would have a lot of turns for it. And it's not like I have a huge number of track lays I necessarily want to make. So it may not be a horrible idea. Of course, there's the blasting cost for the river here. I don't think it's that valuable. And I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 certificates out of my 14. So I'm allowed to buy 5 more. I also almost certainly want to buy some political support. I have 1, but that is sort of the least of my worries. So what's going to make good money? Good question. It's a hard call because first of all, I don't have the prices, the amount of money that the companies make. I can look at the trains and make an estimate of about, you know, of what companies are good from that. I don't really need that, but the bus, it's hard. You know, the bus has the biggest potential. Right now, what's it running at? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it comes up here, it's 9, 10. Coming up this way, it's 2, 3, 7. Could go up to 12. That's not great money. It just isn't, and it's not going to make a lot of stock value either. It'll go forward once and off 12. But the thing is, it might be able to boost that. So this was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dude, that brings that up to 12, but not a lot of expansion from there. I don't think the bus company is a good buy right now yet. I think probably the best buy is this. He only has 1 company, so I feel pretty safe. It also has 2 trains. Looks like a good purchase. Two places I can buy it from. They're both $125 or lira. I could buy it from the bank pool. That would reduce the money going in immediately. I could buy it from here. That would reduce the arbitrage capabilities later. And also, well, it's not going to, yeah, actually, right. No, that's selling at par. Yeah, that would just reduce arbitrage capabilities other people could get later. Since I'm not taking any loss on it, I think I'm going to do that. His interests are different. He's very interested in very short-term money. But he's also interested in getting cash into his companies. That's cash he doesn't have to pay. Of course, he loses money off his companies. So there's kind of this balance between money I can put directly into my company. Now, what can I put directly into my company? The only thing I can put in is these shares. They're at 100 each. It's those damn 4 trains. Those are what are killing me. I need to get around them. it's like I have a decent amount of cash, but I think I got to buy my own shares. The other thing that could be balanced into this is can I buy something that's going to run first and then I can sell it and I'll have made money off of it. You know, if I'm going to be putting money into my own company, so if I buy this for $100, I am putting $100 of my cash in, and that's it. If I'm going to have to pay out of pocket anyway, I actually probably want to make money. All right. We'll buy one of these. Might as well. It's hard to get the cash for him. Up to him. There's only one more of those left. Might as well buy it up because somebody else will otherwise. Best remaining railway looks to be the SV. All the shares are in there. Why is that the best? And that's fine. Nice low value. That's fine. It's the best in terms of having a 6 train with some decent dots in play. If we look at the FSF, yeah, it has 2 trains just like that does, but it doesn't have a hell of a lot of capability to do much with them. So I think the SV is the next best line, even though it's got a very low stock value. That's fine. One as well, going over here, SV is not a great option for him. Depending on how the trains go, SV goes after my 2 companies. So it is not that appealing. On the other hand, this thing's at 150 a share. See, I absolutely don't want my own company's shares from here. Those potentially will make money into the company treasury after it gets a train, you know, if my train situation gets recovery. I can put a couple $100 into this company by buying a couple of these. This is not available. I think I'm best off buying these. Again, make what money I can, and also possibly dampen other people's stock values when I sell those shares. We're in trouble over here. I can't buy. He bought another SV. I can't buy SVs. If I buy 2 SVs, there's a good chance a 6 train ends up over there and I end up owning it. And oh look, a competitor's knocked out, you know, because I'll have to convert one. I mean, it's not a terrible thing in the sense that, like, I have the money for another permanent train, so I'd be able to run 3 trains on my 2 companies, which is pretty decent. But I'm hoping to get one of these companies. I'm expecting him to go under, which means I also can't buy 2 of the CCFR. There's not a lot left out there. I could buy a second one of this without anywhere near as much risk. He's only got one train company. I could buy bus company stuff. Why didn't this guy buy those? Interesting. Yeah, he probably erred. So these FSFs are only at 100. We'll buy them up. Now I'm in a little bit of a questioning position. I'm here holding these 2 SVs. I bought one because, yeah, it's worth something. I'm not so sure anymore. I'm a little wary of the fact that he could hit me. I'm ahead of him. Here's the thing. Dumping this company would probably hurt him, but a lot less if one of these is available. I don't think I'd get all that badly hurt by owning it. But would I be better off owning something else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got like 3 more certificates I can buy. I mean, if I'm in on the SVs, I might as well be in on more of them. I'm holding one of these. So is he. I don't know why. These are worthless. Let's sell this before anything horrible happens. That gives me 70. You know, I'm not being as careful as I usually am, and I'm missing some things. Some of it has to do with these shares are very hard for me to distinguish. They don't have the color bands and stuff like that that I'm used to in XX games. They're just sort of a bland color, and they just sort of blend together. When I look at this and this, I mean, I can tell the differences between them. It's just there's a blandness to it, not the bold stripes. And sometimes you can have different patterns on each one and everything. These just don't manage that. But I get to buy something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't buy this. I could buy a purple. Or I could keep buying SVs. The purple is going to make enough money to go forward, but I think I want to buy the SVs. Just if you're going to hold a lot of something, well, if you're going to hold 2 of something, might as well hold a lot of it, right? That way I can help it move up as well. The purple can move up too, but you know. All right, we're over here. Well, those FSFs. The other thing is the name is really broad on here, and then the symbol, like the FSF, I can see pretty easily. But some of them have these kind of, I don't know, tangled graphical type things, and those may be related to the actual railways, but they're harder to see than, you know, kind of like, think of the 1830 shields with, you know, a couple of letters on them or whatever, which probably aren't the actual symbology used by the railway in all cases. I mean, in some it probably comes close. Anyway, where am I? I'm here and I'm looking at, see, it's kind of safe for me to hold this. Plus, he does not want to dump a company on somebody who's behind him. Because again, there is some cost to losing a company like that at this point. The SFS is definitely okay at $100. There's only one of them. The bus company is $150. You'd take a loss. Not so hot. I think I'm going to be juggling a train, to be honest. Which to me means I can afford to buy the SV. Get that last one there. Puts me back up to him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I might as well buy an FSF because that's the last one, and it's always kind of a good idea to have a diversity of shares in case your own don't work too well. Plus he'll pick up a third one because he's sitting right before him in the ordering. He's still low on shares. What's left? I thought I bought a purple. I can't sell this. Really thought I bought a purple. Guess I bought one of these. Yeah. Not really all that thrilled by the purples, but we'll buy that. Don't want to, but down here. 3 more shares. What can I buy? What can I buy? There's no more SVs left. There's purples left. Then there's crap left. And my bus. Can afford 1 purple. I might be able to make an argument that I could afford multiple purples because I'm multiply invested in this SV. If he wants to rape something to hurt me, he's already got that option. He can't rape them both. But yeah. Over here, I think we got a pass coming there. Haven't been moving this little round marker around because I'm doing it live, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What's left? Purples are left. Guess that's it. Hey, the bend in the table helped me there. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got room for a lot of shares of stuff. The bus company cannot be hurt. It is the only thing I'm really willing to buy. And it is running at 150 a pop. Yep. Have some bucks. This is going to constitute a threat where he has to start buying some of them in order to maintain control. Now, maintaining control isn't a big deal. The big thing with it is it's the extra certificate. Because this thing is going to just make its money. It doesn't really influence play in any other way, which is a little weird. If there was some sort of competition going between the rail lines and the buses and whatnot, if they didn't just manage to fill their trains completely, right? And this is a problem with 18XX. Other games, the Winsome games, things like Chicago Express and stuff, involve, well, not all the Winsomes. That's a large span. Some of the Winsomes, Chicago Express, Steam, they all involve a competition for delivering goods. And if you think about like the situation, say, around the formation of Standard Oil, where they were like, not a railway company, but where they were cutting deals first with the Penn Railroad, then with a consortium of railroads. It was very obvious that like it was important to the railways to be able to get goods to haul, right? That was an important factor. And that kind of deal cutting and everything, it is represented in those games in terms of the competition for the deal cutting, just like it is in Railroad Tycoon, the computer game. But what is not represented is the stress the competition across the industries. And that's the game that I kind of want to see. One where you're trying as the producer of goods with one type of corporation to be getting a better rail rate, and from the different rail corporations that come there. Now, you'd have to have locked-in contracts and stuff like that and ways of breaking them. It would be a much, much more complex game. But that's something I'd like to see, a game with a stock market and multiple industries that are reliant on each other, a la, you have you have the reliance and that stress between the different companies in Lords of Sierra Madre, and to a lesser extent, Lords of the Renaissance. But Lords of Sierra Madre really captures that idea of, hey, I will carry your goods if, but it doesn't work quite right. Like, there's usually only one person who can carry your goods, and most of the deals are not in the sense of, hey, here's the rate that you pay. Rather, they're, well, I won't send bandits to attack you if you pay me this, or if you do this, or whatever. So what I would like to see is something that covers the economic negotiations that happen across industries that are related, that rely on one another, and the stock markets that play in those. The closest maybe that allows for this is actually SPI's Star Trader. Unfortunately, the scales and whatnot are too small, and you're usually able to integrate vertically, I believe, where you're controlling both the transportation and the market. And it may just be that, like, in a game with 4 or 6 people, there's too much opportunity to integrate vertically instead of horizontally. But if you limit what different corporations can do, like, make it difficult for a corporation to perform in that kind of vertical integration. And the only way you can do that is by saying, look, the stockholders aren't interested in becoming some sort of mega corporation, more modern holding company or something. They want you to stay in what you understand. But it could actually show the differentiation and the values of vertical versus horizontal integrations, and you're going to get the interlocking directorates and stuff like that by players which represent, conglomerates of money, just as they would here, being able to control related industries and give favors to one another and set prices or something along those lines. Anyway, there's a lot of interesting stuff that could go on with that. And you could use a stock market similar to an XX market. That's the game that hasn't been made, right? There's games that have pickup delivery with stock valuation, where you have a competition for who can pick stuff up. And I'm not saying that all the materials available to be delivered would be corporations in players' hands. There might be stuff like in your Steam games that are basically pickups that you're just establishing, as opposed to being some kind of related corporate entity who has a stock value or whatever. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Where the hell am I? I'm on this guy. I moved the round marker because I knew this was going to go off the board. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I kind of don't want to let him get to a second one of those. Is there another share that I want? Well, kind of want that purple, but maybe not that much. Purple's worth 150. Yeah, we're gonna buy the purple. I don't think I'm in much danger of losing the bus company to him, and yes, I'm close to share limit, but our certificate limit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whew. Yeah, we pass. Up here. Well, I wouldn't have been able to buy a purple, so I'm kind of happy about that. I also don't have a shit ton of money. And there is nothing worth owning available. Which I think means, let's look for the price. Go. I'm pretty sure it's $5. For a political card. Yep. We'll start buying our pool of political support. And we're going to want at least a couple of them. Coming over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now he's like, oh wait, political support. Oh! Because my mindset is 18XX, which doesn't have shit like that normally. What did I say? 11, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I want another bus company. One of the problems, shit. I just put 150 where it doesn't belong. Fuck. Hey, that was here. Hey, the bus company is getting rich. They'll be able to build expensive terrain at some point. I'm back around. I gotta swap batteries. I lose the bus company if I don't buy one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I only have room for one more, which means I may have to sell something. Oh, fuck. It doesn't feel like a real company, so like, I don't know. Or maybe I'm just not used to buying out of here, although I did it earlier in the turn. So I buy my third share of this, but I'm in a problematic situation now where I may have to dump shares that I previously bought this round. I'm allowed to do that in order to protect my bus company if he keeps buying. And he has room for another one, and I think that means I have to buy another one. Oh, I was going to buy a political support. I'll spend $10 on a political support. Should have done it earlier. Him? Spend $10 on a political support. Neither of us is going to get priority. Well, priority might end up here. I'm not going to get priority no matter what, because these guys are going to have to buy their political supports as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Enough money for another bus company. Jesus, look at all that money. And I can't take it out. I can't misuse that money anyhow. This was the last thing I chose. I'll buy a bus company. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yeah. So I snarf one of those up, and that puts another 150 in here. I want train. Pass. So we're 15 for a third political support. Sure. Not sure, not positive of that. He's not going to do it, but coming back over here. $5 for political support. It's weird because your purchase of the political support is going to determine, it's going to impact your priority choices. $10 for political support. Pass, pass. I could pass and get priority on him. Not really worried about it. $10 for a political. Well, there's one reason I might worry about it, which is him. If I pass at this point, he will not have priority over me. More importantly, he won't have priority over this guy. And that guy could slam my main competitor and hurt himself. Odd, I'm going to pass for that and hope for the best out of the political support thing. Yeah, I'm going to pass. That puts it on him. Well, if I'm last in the priority race anyway, I will buy myself a third priority support or political support. It goes around again the same way. This time I will pass. There's going to be 3 operating rounds, but what's sold out? Not this. This is CFSF? I would think so. The brownie is almost certainly not. This is not, but the SV is. So now the SV has actually moved ahead of one of his companies, maybe both of them. Yeah, both of them. And it would be making money. It'll be moving forward. So if I last more turns, it is going to make money before I have to make my purchase anyway. So buying a share of that was a good idea. That's going to put me on the event. I'm going to break. I went into a lot of detail on this one. I don't always do that. This was potential. This was not as chaotic a late game stock manipulation. Nobody's dumped anything yet, but nobody's set up to do so really. Usually those have one big hit and then, hey, what company are you going to open? There aren't any companies to open right now, but there's the possibility of some showing up. So everybody's in kind of this weird limbo. I wanted to show the kind of thoughts and calculations and mistakes that I make. I mean, like this guy made a mistake definitely in not buying his political support earlier. It didn't matter. He got priority anyway because everybody else had things to do. This guy's open up. He could have sold one of these and bought another bus company. The fuck? No, not one of these. One of these. He could have sold 2 of these and bought more bus company shares. It seems like a terrible idea to me. I just wish I could figure out what to do with all this money. And it's draining money from the bank, which is maybe good, maybe bad. I'm in a good position, but I kind of want to play for the long game because that thing potentially can make huge amounts of money and can drive its stock value all the way up. I wish it was if any company could make it there, because the other companies have such a hard time getting there, I think. Although with 2 trains you can break things. I don't know why they made the choice they did. All right, breaky time. Maybe not so breaky. I'm not going to play anymore, but I came up to talk about those ideas I was putting forward about, the kind of contracts you would put. You would have to. Here's the problem. You could codify, gamify, make mechanisms that make those contracts work, but to do them right, you would have to almost build them out the way that Blood Royale handles negotiations and whatnot. There are some other games. I don't know. It's over here. I can turn on a light. There we go. There are other games that also allow for formalizing treaties, things like Empires of the Middle Ages, that you formalize a treaty which can be broken, and then you might have some kind of mechanism for kind of cheating the law and avoiding penalties for them and stuff like that. Also, you would have to have deals between railways as to allowing the use of the track. And again, there are games which handle that in an abstracted format, where you don't cut a deal, write out some kind of treaty, and come up with some sort of mechanism for it on your own. Something like Rail Baron, where it's just or Crayon Rails, where if you ride on someone else's track, you pay them a fixed amount, and it's a penalty. And you could create sort of pre-designed deal type things of that nature. But the reality of the situation is someone would probably negotiate a right-of-way into a city. What you wouldn't see is what you have in general, is what you have in Railroad Tycoon. Railroad Tycoon has this horrible situation where, like, if you connect up to somebody else's cities, you create an immediate price war. That might have been the normal effect, but if you look, in a lot of ways, the kind of connections that are made through most rail games are a lot closer to the reality. The track is still there. It doesn't get ripped up because you lost a price war. Losing the price war just means basically what happened from price wars is that the companies would come to an agreement to stop it. They would create really stupid incentives to try to win a price war, but they were basically attempts to get people more used to using their lines. It's sort of a race to the bottom a la business strategy type of situation, but where you had a very, very specific goal. You weren't trying to bankrupt the other company in general, unless it was a very small line, in which case you probably wanted to buy it out afterwards. What you were trying to do was come to some sort of negotiated agreement where, look, this is costing you more than it's costing me. I want, this. I either want you to pull out and I'll buy your stations or whatever. I'll give you some nominal money to make up for the expenditure that you did. Stuff along those lines. And again, you could do that with a really freewheeling negotiations situation where people can exchange stuff in exchange for legal agreements and whatever. The legal agreements, how binding they would have to be, yeah, they got broken at times. So it's like, and sometimes they weren't legal agreements. Sometimes they were hidden compacts that had absolutely no value other than the handshake that they were written on. 5 a.m. and Raid is forcing me to take a break. So let's see what we get. This is our first Duck 3 card. Well, of course it would have been available. Verona Porta Nueva belt. During this operating round, the value of external box Verona Brenner is increased by 20. That's this one up here. That's interesting. We're on, oh boy. I'm in the phases. Let me see what phase we're in. I don't know where to find training phases. on here. I don't think there's a full explanation in the charts. So we're right now in phase 6 at this point, which I think is the higher value. And I think gray track is available now. Maybe not. No, just brown. But the high value of the external boxes. So this will go up to 100. It is the most valuable place for this operating route. Now this is a weird little thing. It's like, yeah, you set up all your routes and everything. It's great if you're hitting them anyway, but now it's going to create a desire to hit this round if you're set up for it and just, you know, go there and get something advantageous. Oh, 150, 150. Okay. And those are 110s. Go on the diagonal as usual. Okay. Which puts us over here. And I got to think, because he's only sitting on one transfer box. But I'm trying to see if he can get up there. I don't think so. So it won't be an issue for him. Some track potentially for the SV connecting up here. My run is 270. That's a nice run. So nice, in fact. I have enough money to buy myself a 6 train. I have a general rule in XX games. May or may not work here, but I think it's going to be going for a while. There's still a fair amount of cash in the treasury, in the bank. I swallow if I can get a permanent train off of that. So that gets me 300 bucks, and 600 bucks buys me the last of the 6 trains. And I got something that I really wasn't expecting to get. Sure, I lost, you know, some stock value. Didn't get some of the cash, but now I'm going to be running double trains off of that company. That's pretty damn sweet. Didn't use that, as I noted, but the SV is going to be using it possibly twice. One run, I'll just look at it. This connects up to there. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, can't do that. Shit. That means 1, 2, 3, 4. I wanted to do this. This might be my best. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I may want to shift this. Let's see. There's a piece that does this. We'll see. Yeah, I think that's actually more important than this piece. So I'm going to not play this. I did not see what I'm getting. And I'm going to put the piece, there's a piece with the weird curve this way that, you know, isn't available in a lot of XXs, but it's available in a fair number. Interruptions like this are so painful. Like, you're trying to develop your routes and everything, and you're like, well, now I can grab a few more bucks. And I can, I think. I don't know. Right now, I have an interesting little run, which can come, let's see, 1, 2, no, 1, 2. This connects back to there, actually. 3, 4, 5. Okay? But I can't go from here. This can't be my basis. Shit. No, this is just bad. So this one, though, then becomes kind of a pain because my way out is now gone, which means 1, 2 to here, 3, and now where? And obviously I could cut down to someplace like that, but I don't really want to. And one of the other weird things is I might be helping the bus company, which sure I have 30% of, but he has 40. I might be helping the bus company by building, like, let's say I decide to upgrade this or something along those lines. I really don't know. There are 3 places that go to this. This is the only one I want to / can reasonably reach, because the red track kind of fucks with me in ugly ways otherwise. Yeah, I was counting. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then where? Yeah, I don't know. But no matter what, the way I'm set up without a dot here is kind of annoying. And there's no gray track available yet, so I don't know what I'm doing. I could just build this and ignore everything else, but I got time to do that. I can wait on that. Someone else can build it and it doesn't hurt me anymore. I've locked the concession in. Oh, bugger. I'm confusing the purple run with the green. Green does go through here. So I can go 1, 2, but then I can't go through here. So I'd have to come up this way to go through my own track. I go 1, 2, no. I don't know. I don't fucking know. And this, I don't know who that is. That's Castelfranco, which actually goes back here. So that's actually a plausible shot back. I've just got so many different patterns, and now I've got this added like twist to everything. All the other patterns, hey, they're going to stick in my mind, and I'll eventually build that track. But and maybe I'll start to learn what it's like. Yeah. And there's a fair number of doinks in this game too. Shit like this where it's like, yeah, I'd love to go through just one town or not go through a town or whatever. No way to blow them up. And the answer is the triangle of love. Oh no, it isn't. The fuck. I thought it was. I thought I got up here somehow. Shit. This is getting annoying. Spatial, like the geometry of the game just really fucks with me. That's, I don't know what I thought I was doing, but I had like one run, I don't know, coming 1, 2, 3. I don't know what the fuck I was doing anyway. This is the one. 1, 2. I don't know. I think I was cheating completely. God damn it. Like, I'm just, and adding these red tracks in here just makes it so much more of a nightmare. There's things I really like about this game, things that I haven't seen in another XX, which is kind of, you know, kind of like with the one with the miners that I keep referring back to, which recently kind of blew my mind by the miners not being that valuable. And they were, but you don't want to have too many of them is what it comes down to. But with this one, it's that the companies, the corporations don't produce a lot of money to begin with. They really don't. And they don't produce any stock value either. Like, you know, you can look at like the pen in 1830 or whatever and say, wow, you can't make any money off that thing. Yeah. But here, they really don't make money because they don't make stock value or cash. Oh boy. This is what I saw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that gets me this run. And then I've got to run here 1, 2, 3, 4. I can dip down and hit this for 5. That becomes a terminal spot. That's as good as it gets. I'm not going to be able to get to Parma is the issue, which I might want to get to. Do I need the flexibility of that extra cash from the thingamabobber? Not really, but I don't have anything better to do. So I might as well do that because I know I need to do that at some point. So, I mean, If I was set up right now, I don't know, maybe this could shift me up and into Parma, but I need two track lays. I need here and here, and I can't do both of them. Is Parma better than this? Yes. So that might be worth doing. So let me take a look if I can build up. Well, I could get dotted out here. Yeah, let's build my thing. Let's just get it out of the way because I had to pay, I don't know, some tiny amount of money for it. So the first thing that happens is 7 gets triggered. 7 is worth $200 for these. And then I'll figure out my run and I'll report on that. I'm going to pay out at 56 a share. It'll go up like 3 spaces in some games, which is impressive when you're up there. Anyway, we paid that out. There isn't any in there, of course, because this is a good company. Kind of surprised that's in there, but that only had 1 train. Didn't look like it was getting another one. FSF, again, real problems. I'm taking a look at it. I'm like, okay, I can run one off of here. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to here. Okay. But then what does that do to me? Right? Because I'm already built up to run one off of here, but not nicely. That comes 1, 2, and then I can't come down. And I could play off the Bologna. I actually can't get either of these yet. So that may be the best I can do. And do some kind of upgrade here. And now the question here is, well, Parma is nice. 1, 2, 3. Oh, bother. I have a 4 and a 5. I want 2 5s. I really do. But I can't do that. Come up with a 470 run. The first 8 train is when that dies. Swallowing would get me the cash in hand for that. I can't really guarantee, right, but this is the best run I'm going to get. That'll give me money for this dot as well. I think I'm going to swallow this 470 because otherwise I may be stuck with just a single train. And I don't have enough for the dot if I do that. I want the dot here if it opens up. But the thing is, I can't buy a 7 train unless I sell this 4. One of these guys might buy it. The 7 is as good as the 8 for me, right? But a whole lot cheaper. The 8 trains are a real hit. This line expands into here and here, and runs for a big 12 a share, which we will pay out. Is next. This is always something that I find tricky. I don't know why. It's just the diagonal, right? But somehow it's hard for me to see that this is higher than this, even though I can see the 2 diagonals at 70 and 65. I have to peek underneath and make sure because it looks so weird. I have a 55 run with the SV. Built some track I'm not using yet. Who owns this stuff? FSF. I think they actually made $10 more than they should have, or than I recorded, so I'll have to give them that. I'll be back in a moment. Talking about that 55 run. That's enough for me to get the first 7 train. If I can get him to agree to buy my train for $1. Now, He doesn't buy it now. He buys it with his companies. That allows him to buck around. That allows him to get a cheaper set of trains than he's going to get otherwise, and gives him some possible survivability. Let's look around the board. He could also make that deal. So there's a couple of people willing to sell a train for $1, is what it may come down to. If I swallow 550, that puts me to 800. That's $100 short. If I can't get the agreement. He is willing to do it. He's decided he's willing to do anything that'll increase his chances of ending the game without going bankrupt, because he wants to sit at the table and watch what happens. And he might as well get to play something in that if he gets to. Out of the two players, he's willing to commit that he will indeed buy the train off of the SVS and not off of this guy who's in the lead, giving the SVS a better chance at winning the game. It's a kingmaker type operation, but you know, once I make the decision that I'm willing to buy a train, it seems almost obvious I want to buy it from the guy, unless I'm trying to beat that guy. But I know I can't. I'm just trying to survive, and making the game more exciting sounds interesting. So he is going to swallow that $550. So his company's going up. He's going to buy the train for $1. He's not going to be able to make a run, so it goes back. And I have to figure out what I want to do for my track. One thing I wanted to note, there are 3 of these. This opens up a space which might be of some interest. Of course, somebody might dot it, and I probably won't have the cash to do so. Although I'll accumulate cash pretty quickly, so I might get the dot, I might not, right? And this opens up, and I already have a dot there, so I'm not worried about that one really giving me much. Right now, and I already, I don't count this special situation. That's going to be gone. So I'm looking at kind of, well, what's the best I can do? Well, this becomes as good as the Bologna run. So it's not a terrible choice to be coming out of here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm probably going to be running an 8, 6, and then where? Down in here. That's not particularly pleasant. But I don't have to make my run yet. So I could be running out of here. But 1, 2, 3, I'm having trouble finding a good route. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is not a bad run. So I think we'll start laying track for that as my intended run. Doesn't help red. That's the only problem. And then I went back already. I pay $1. With 2 people offering me, even if one like says, "Oh, I don't know," it's not gonna affect me. I get that train. Nothing changes. We go to my other company, the FBV, and that's going to be buying. Still interested, buddy? I promised him I'd buy it, allowing him to get the 7 train, but you know what? The FSF could get that 7 train and its token if this company buys his train for $1. What does that do? Well, that gives me a little bit more flexibility. Now, I could have moved money and whatnot. But that might put me in a position where the 8 train doesn't get bought. And he's like, yeah, dude, I'll still do it. Perfect. Perfect. Now he's feeling pretty bad because he's probably going to have to swallow for that 8 now that he's done this. Giving up that 4 means that he's in trouble. Okay. These are going to go away. Well, but I have a run. I get a run first. I get an extra run. That'll increase my survivability. So yes, I want to do that. I have to just figure out what I'm going to do in terms of laying track for an 8 train. The track down here is kind of undeveloped. Yeah, I got a dot down there. That sucks. If I get this, all kind of good things open up. Don't worry about that. If I get it, I get it, right? Likewise, if I manage to get this somehow, but that's very hard for this company. So what I'm looking at is a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 going up into there. I can't do these special transfer boxes twice in one run. So Parma is probably about as good as it gets for where I can actually end my run. Might be able to exchange other things, but again, we're converging in here, building up stuff that wasn't being built before, and opening up the possibility of this actually being completed at some point. Then I buy a 4 train from him for $1. And I'm probably going to get an extra run out of this. That puts this up here. We take a break because each of these operating rounds is kind of hellish in terms of the amount of effort involved. But yeah. And this goes away. Pretty cool, actually. Like, SV is feeling really kind of pissed. Because had I not agreed to sell my train, I would have 2 trains. Would that help me particularly? Maybe, because I would have gotten another run, another big run, which, I don't know, it doesn't really do me anything, but I'd be paying out a big run. I'd be swallowing later with a smaller run if I wanted to get that other train or whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't have swallowed this big run. So I would have gotten this big run, I would have gotten another big run, and then I would have settled down to a 6 train. That may or may not have been the best move. Or I could have swallowed, kept my 4 train, and allowed it to, that would have allowed me to get one big run off that 6-4 combo after he buys the 7. He would be forced to buy an 8, or, here's the thing, if no one was in position to buy an 8, because he bought the 7, he would have 2 trains still. They would actually be permanent because this guy would have bought 1 4 train for $1. This would have actually worked out better for him in terms of the goals that he saw. And 1 for $350. I think the 8s never come out in that case until he chooses to bring them out, which, so he made a dumb move by buying any of those trains. Why? Because if I bought neither of the trains, neither of these players could buy any trains at all. So he actually slit his own wrists by buying those trains. But he's going to get kind of a nice, he's going to get a nice swallow that will help him not dissolve as badly. But essentially, everyone except this guy is unhappy once the situation starts to become clearer. because he would have been running a 6-4 train. He wouldn't have had to swallow. He would have been getting that big 550 or whatever run. A little lower next time, but whatever. This guy would be blocked off. He's blocked off. He's blocked off. And he would have had a pair of 4 trains and been able to coast to 4th place. As it stands, he might not make it now. Oops. Yeah, and I don't know if it's going to be a shorter game because of this. He can't even make that argument of, well, okay. that sucked. Let's flip all these over. And running in on 9 a.m. now. Nice cloudy day. I mean, it's got its own beauty, but it's not a beauty that makes you want to go out and do it, you know? Anyway, let's see what the card... I got raid downstairs. There's these horrible... There's a few of the bosses that are just these obnoxious things that previously, you know, I solved, I set up a team for, whatever, but then they put more restrictions on how you face them in certain areas. And I've got to get one out of the way, and it's just like, it's going to be at it for like an hour, I think. Assuming it works. Hot autumn. Each company has to pay a political support card, otherwise the route will be reduced to 0. Well, that's nasty. This affects all companies, railroad and bus. Keep it on the map and repeat every operating round until the next stock round. Ooh. So that's going to hit twice in a row. This is really painful. So people who have not enough political support markers or cards, and nobody has enough, right? He has 1, he needs 2. He has 3, he needs 4. He has 2, he needs 4. He has 3, he needs 4. They're going to have to make some choices, and they may be hard choices, because in some cases, maybe I need to make a swallow, right? This is a really, really nasty card. Interesting. Okay. You know, like I said, randomness to this degree just does not feel appropriate for an 18xx game, does it? But anyway. And it's just one autumn that counts as 2 operating rounds. I don't feel like these are even I feel like these are longer than a year each. So it's like a multi-year problem. It's not one autumn, the way I look at it. Of course, when you look, hey, the World War I cards, the World War II cards, but those cover long periods of time, right? You know, the World War I card, I feel, the first deck, I feel kind of ends at the end of World War I. The second deck ends at the end of World War II. So if we look at the second deck, how long is that? Well, 25 years or so, right? And these are like 3 or 4 years each then. Yeah, I don't know. All right. But whatever it is. Who's up? Who's on first? It's got to be this guy who's in the 175 slot. This is going to be actually... It is a really interesting time for this to happen because he needs money. Some of these others need money coming. This guy's going to lay this track. The reason is because my tangle, much as I want to do, I got 1 train running down here, it's fine. I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's great. I can't cross this red line. I keep wanting to, I keep seeing it. It looks like track to me. So instead I have to do 1, 2, 3. It's going to be like 4, 5. Hitting this is bad. It's a 30 buck. It's horrible. What I'm looking at as a possible advantage is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up into there. That may not be the best in the world, but I don't have the willpower to keep looking. Another option would be down here if I ignore this 1, 2. But this way is no good, and this gets me 3, 4, 5. Nope, I'm doing it again. I see this and I want to run it. Anyway, we are not going to play our card. We only have one. If anything, values are going to go up, or we're going to need a card for another thing that's more important or whatever. Oh, that puts me on the Poiple. I laid some track here. I haven't figured out what my run's going to be, but at least part of it comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there, which is all buildable and good, and there's no dots in the way yet, so that's one of my trains. The other train, I think, starts here. This dot has become useless, as is this one down here. This shit down here is just no good anymore. 1, 2, 3, don't like this. 4, 5, but I have nowhere to go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to here. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6 up here, or something like that. Question is, look, I have 3 of these cards. You'd want to say, oh, play 2 of them here and 1 of them here. When this has its 2 trains, it looks like, you know, this is the bad turn for it. It has enough money, sort of, maybe, kind of. The FSF is going to go before me. It gets first shot at that 7 train, has the cash for it. I am not going to be able to get the 7 train, which means I will need my run here this turn for that company to run. And then that means I'll have I have 2 runs that I can make with big money. I can make them both on the next one. So I think I'm going to pass this time because I definitely don't need to run this particularly. This is just putting money in my pocket. So he too will freeze in this heat. What about the bus? I got 3. The bus continually gets better, so they're almost certainly not going to play a card for that because, again, I have 4 cards. I don't want to... Oops. Seem to have gotten an extra one there. So I'll go into... I'll go into here. Too many tokens in this game. I could go into this Doinker trying to cut more quickly, but I'd rather... Oh, I'm already here. Yeah, I could come down to the Doinker, try to get an extra buck, but since I'm not running for money this turn, I might as well just run the buses that way, and we too will go back in value. Which puts us on the all-important FSF. I could actually make a decision here. The FSF has no shares outstanding, like they're all in players' hands, but I would be getting 50%, 60%, 30, 40, 60% of that, which is a good payout, and it's running a 5. It probably is making about the same, but I may want to hold that off too because I don't need it. I have the 750 and enough money for my token and everything else. Keeping an extra card may save me. There's going to be another card next turn. Could be terrible. So I am actually not going to run that for money either, but I'm going to lay a track for the 5-7 train combo. It too will go back. I played this track, the intention being to hook this up, which is of some importance to me. I've got more train than I was counting on, or than I looked like I won it before. So this is kind of useful. It's going to force somebody else to upgrade it if they want to go in a different direction than I want to. I do not want to play my token yet. I pay the 750. and get the first of the 7 trains. And now we look up the 7 trains. And again, there's only one place that tells me what I'm doing here, which is way towards the beginning. I don't know if you can see why I don't like Unbound rule books. I'm having trouble with this. A stock round after 3, corporations flow 5. Gray tracks are now available, 2 trains each. Random events 3rd, anchors are plus 10, SEFTA. Nothing changes. Absolutely nothing changes. Nothing is eliminated, but the 8s are now available. And that's a big deal because the 8 is what he's going to pick up, and it's going to crush those 4s. And that's going to crush a train from this guy. He's not going to get to run with both of his companies because the SV is ahead of that. In fact, the SV is ahead of both of them. Yeah. Boy, did I slip my wrists with him. He should not have bought those trains. Oh, well. Speaking of which, it is the SV's turn. He only has $800, which means he is going to have to spend a political card and swallow. Something changed. Gray tiles are available. And just in time for me with no dots to want to put a dot somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to do the upgrade. I don't know which one. I think this one's a $20 upgrade. This one's a $20 upgrade. Both of those are plausible for me. Boy, this sucks. This is a 330 run. Makes you want the half swallows and whatnot. That's a hell of a lot of money to put aside. But yeah, I got to do it. I planned on it. One of these. Paid out the money to get the 8 train, which is the first of these. Nothing new. And this is the last phase, so there's nothing exciting happening. The gray track is down. My run is going to be humongous next time, but my stock value is in the toilet. That will put us on this Brown company, who has no train, did not get the run they were expecting to get off of the trains that they bought. Yeah, they would have been better off. I don't know. They only paid $1 off of each of their companies to keep it alive. Yes, they should not have opened up both of them. If I hadn't sold to him, if I hadn't bought from him, he wouldn't have space for a train. That was the wiser move. So not buying either was not a great move because then I had to buy the 4 trains out here. But I would have had those 2 companies locked in, and I could have just built up until whenever. That would have been probably the safest of the moves. But just buying his train was okay, I think, because he wouldn't have been able to buy a train. He would have been able to buy a 7 train. That wouldn't crush my 4. Yeah, but then I'm juggling the 4. Yeah, no. The best move was buying the 2 trains. And everything beyond that was just cutting my wrists. So, I'm going to come up with $900. I'll figure out my track lay if I can survive this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run both these companies, see what survives, and then lay tracks for both of them. Everything out. I owe about $300 on that first train. I can easily raise that kind of money. I have shares that I can dump. I don't want to dump my own company because they're not worth shit, and they're gonna produce okay, I guess. I don't know. First of these is successful for $900. Now the question is, do I have another $900? Well, it's not all my own money. This company will also go back. Again, I'll go back and lay track if it's of importance to me. 500. I got to come up with about $400. I don't think I have it. Hold off everything I have, and I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 740 something. So, you know, I'm 160 bucks short. It's not going to happen. I do have to try to sell everything I have, affecting the prices and whatnot. And now we go into the bankruptcy. Because of this, none of this is going to matter. But, yeah. So let me swap batteries, and I'll go over the impact of bankruptcy in this game. You may ask about these couple of shares. Actually, I couldn't sell any of them. 50% in the bank pool, so they weren't going to be enough anyway. But if I'm not able to collect enough, then the player is declared in bankruptcy and the game continues without him. The corporation without a train is closed and can be launched again in the subsequent stock round. All the tokens and anchor markers, the concessions, the certificates, etc. are removed following the rules for closed corporations. See 5.8. Shareholders do not receive any reimbursement at all. All the stock owned by the bankrupted player is placed in the bank pool, even if it goes over. If the bankrupted player was president of another corporation, a check is made to see if another player becomes the new president. The answer is no. In this case, he will take the president's certificate from the bank, exchanging it with 2 10% stocks. If any player cannot be the new president, also this corporation will be closed and it will be possible to launch it again. The number of players is reduced, so certificate limits are going to go up. But we have to find, what is the rule number there? 5.8. I don't think there's anything exciting about this, except that it can be reopened. All right. He lost a share of the Brown Company. Nobody was holding any shares of this. He should not have been holding a share of that. He held on to it a turn too long or whatever, and this guy was like, oh, whoa, that thing's going down. Screw that. All these price markers, that's a special one. We have a lot less counters on the board. Right? The tokens have cleaned up. The red ones weren't too important, but the brown ones were in a couple of important spots. And those are open now. So now there's actually 2 in this big spot. Player's gone. I'm keeping his number 4, but he gets the priority. He would be the next in line. The train is actually gone. I don't think that's going to be an issue. All the shares are gone. We can make some space here. There's only 2 8s available anymore. This isn't one of those games that has infinite trains. And that's it. Gosh, it would be possible to make this be destroyed. And then all its tokens would go off and you'd have to start a new bus company, which would really kind of suck. I'm putting the round marker up here to remind me, well, the card up under the round marker to help remind me that that card will be in effect on the final operating round of this set. I don't think anybody, well, see, these companies could start and they become a place, so he's got money for that train. So he actually probably is willing to buy one of those companies. The only problem is there are no double trains available, so that's going to be a single train company out there. I might be better off buying shares of stuff. I don't know where the home location of these is. Unfortunately, these don't say on them. I know where his is. I think the brown one must be here. So I am going to put this marker here to remind me that that's that place's home, because that's a valuable location to have. And I guess that's it for now. I'm gonna go down and see if my boss fight succeeded. It might not have. It looked like it was gonna last forever, in which case it should have succeeded, but it's possible to run out of turn count and shit like that. But yeah, this, he fucked up. I mean, in so many ways, but he totally fucked up even right at the end. And we have another turn with no income, which it's just sort of like, hey, let's delay the game due to a random card, right? Because it really is, it cuts into the amount that we pull out of the bank. I'm up on 11 a.m. now, but, you know, this is about the time where I'm tired enough to go to sleep or whatever. But of course, like usual, I'm like, I want to avoid things. This is why I end up on like a 26, 27 and a half hour day if I'm completely loosened from anything. I actually thought something like this would happen last week because I hadn't gone dancing the week before. All right, let's take a look at what we got. We got this card still in effect, which is people have to play cards to get things, and a railway strike. You have to play a political support or your route will be halved. So we've got kind of a double whammy here. If you want to get full value from a route, you got to play two of your political supports. I don't know if anybody's willing to do that. You know, it might be worth it for a big route or something along those lines, but it's probably not worth paying just one. Kind of no matter what. I don't know. Like getting half your money from a company for one card feels kind of painful. Of course, two cards to get all your money if you need it. Yeah. Because here's the thing. Like those two cards, they're going to make me more than the 15 bucks, right? So yeah, I probably should. Just make my choices wisely, I guess. All right, where do we start? Looks like the green company is on the richest diagonal. One is a 58 run. I play my support, and that means I get to make a 29 run, which still allows me to make stock value. Definitely worth playing a card for that. The question comes down to, is it better to split my cards? So like this guy, he probably wants to make half on each to avoid going back, but it might depend on where they are, but it actually depends on where they will be at the end of the game. A 200 run by the boss is a lot more iffy. I think it's still worth running one. I don't go back, but I'm going to make more off the FSF with its two trains. So I'll pay out 10 a share. These two bad boys get me a 69 run, which is awesome, but I'm only going to take half of it for 35. That way I get to move both my stocks forward. Companies have been pretty easy. Well, the two companies I ran have been pretty easy. FSF and the SV are both more painful. I think the SV is going to be better because I've got a clear value area down here, and then I figure out what, you know, which train is running that, and then what the other train runs. Because what I've been able to do is run some of these smaller trains right in this general circle area pretty nicely. But the SV has a little bit of a trouble. It has a little bit more train. This is open still. So that opens up new opportunities that weren't available before. But the FSF, man, it's just, it's got so many options, and none of them are all that great. Like, it doesn't have that clear, yeah, this is the heartland, I want to be in here. Also, is the only company with a token right now, and the money to place it, and a couple of places. I can't put it here, but I can put it here, I can put it there. Which one? I think it's going to be this one, but I can't be absolutely certain, and I'm going to have to do a lot of calculation to figure that out. Upgrading this and putting the token here would be of some value. I tried something, but I found myself running over the same track twice. Upgrading this and putting a token here would be of some value right now, because I could come out of here 1, 2, 3, 4, and then out somewhere, right? And then I could come out with my other rail either out of here or out of here and up into areas where there's value. Okay. But as soon as this brown token goes in there, I'll be shut down on that route, and that will not be a good place to be. I found that these tokens are not terribly strong. The SV is not getting much out of this token when they're blocked off. So I think I'm going with this one, and I'm just trying to find something that works. Some places I'm kind of stymied because, I mean, these are the most valuable cities. This is not going to be as valuable to begin with, even though I'm hitting as good a location. It's the same as these guys down here. They're not as valuable, although this one's pretty good. But because that's a 50 linking to one of the 280s. I don't remember which one, but I can always look it up. But the problem with certain cities, this one for example, is there's doinkers all around it. I don't have a way out except up this way. So if I come out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's not a terrible run, but I'm not hitting any of the rich stuff. And I think at least for this turn, where this is open, and where I've got a token here from now on, I think that I get a better job coming out of here with the 80 and 80 instead of, you know, whatever. But that's making my ports not as valuable that I have for this company. This is not a terribly interesting location. So I'm looking at something like right now at least, okay, I found a 7 run that used this side of the map that I kind of like. But then I come from here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can come down for 5, right? And that takes my 5 train right now, but for the long run, would I be able to make that again? And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Might be able to conjoin this and get something valuable there. I don't know. I think that's what I have to do. All right, because going through this, even if I were to figure out some way to do it, like the double curve going in here, I'd be coming out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This thing can't go above a 30. That's not a named town. That's not one of the special towns. So the only brown upgrades it has are these ones that go in every direction. Not allowed to play it. So this ends up getting stuck at a 40. This one can go up. So I could conceivably use that one. Wowzer. Trying to remember what my route is. And like this town, it's surrounded by doinkers and a red track. Like it looks like there's a nice open space here. Yeah, no, I can't run that. There's only a couple of tiles like this, and especially since the money's halved anyway, I'm putting this guy down. I think there may only be one of each, the 45 and 46 or whatever. So I'm going to guarantee that I get that track that I'm going to need in the future. Probably going to get the best run that I'm going to see in a while. It's a 68 run, and I've played both my cards for that. I still only go forward 1, unlike most games that have you have to match at least. But that's a lot of money. And some of it goes in my treasury. Runs for the 5 and 6 is easy. Finding runs for the 7 and 8 is a bitch. It really is. There's only one 7 train, so nobody's like, you know, so almost guaranteed nobody's going to be building track that works on 7s except the one person who has that. But in this game, there's only one 8 train as well, which it's just the loops are built at a certain scale, and like other people are working and like, oh, how can I optimize an 6 or a 5? And yeah, not enough companies are working on the 8. Now I have a second company. The bus company doesn't count. Those bus counters don't help at all. All right, I came up with a 740 run. I know it's starting up. Let me see. What did it do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 was one of the runs. And then the 6 came here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe 10 off. I'm not going to recount. What was I at? 740? That's 37 a share if I pay one of these. I get us to the stock round. If I can find my little circular token. It's still with the fucking bus. I'll put that on the priority. I'll shift that down to stock and hit here. And things will be very different if someone is starting this company here, because that will block out some of these runs. Now, I've tried to create things that work, although I gotta say, the SV building this, which they did, is looking less valuable than it was. They probably should have upgraded this. Let me swap that out for that, because this I'm almost certainly going to need to use. And so we end up going through what was probably the hardest set of operating grounds. I hope it doesn't get any worse. The buses are going to start cranking though. They're going to hook up, and I don't know, they're not going to double the amount they're making, but they're going to, come close to that. And that will start bringing them into line with some of these other companies. And the other thing is, unlike these others, they have real room to grow. Just as they hit more and more cities, as they absorb their way through the board, they're going to become a bigger and bigger deal. And that's going to indicate kind of the value, I guess, of trucking versus rails. And why the rail nets, for freight especially, sort of deteriorated over time. Because they just weren't flexible enough, I guess. Among other things. All right, we're going to swap batteries, load this one up.